After the passing of President Russell M. Nelson, Dr. Amos Brown was willing to do an interview.
Recording in progress.
All right.
He's a civil rights leader who was mentored by Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He spent his life fighting racism, teaching truth, and building bridges of peace.
My brother of another mother.
We pull up the app to get the interview going. I want to say it crashed at least 10 times.
Can you hear me now?
I can't see you though.
The opposition was at the core of this whole situation. So even though the video didn't survive, I think that it actually only made it more obvious how important that this message is right now.
As Dr. King, my teacher, said, if we don't learn to live together as brothers and sisters, we're all going to perish as fools. But President Nelson was a wise man, wonderful man, and a decent human being. My friend, my brother of another mother. But the day before Mr. Kirk was unfortunately murdered, when he was being interviewed at the age of 101 years old, what was the president talking about? Peace, compassion, building bridges and not walls. He led the church into sharing of their resources financially to move the NAACP from Baltimore, Maryland to Washington, D.C. He led the church into establishing the Dr. Amos C. Brown Fellowship, taking young people, high school and college, to Ghana, West Africa, so that they would have the experience of seeing how evil the Atlantic slave trade was. He also engaged his elders in Memphis, Tennessee, a health program to deal with the problem of low birth weight of black babies. He led elders who worked out in the field, San Francisco, to supporting an organic garden here in Bayview Hunters Point, where Asian and blacks are working, giving produce goods out to the community. Oh, I could go on, citing the things that he did. And the churches roll on around the world, 17 million, the Tabernacle Choir, under his leadership. What did it do? Engaged the Morehouse Spelman Greek Club in a concert at Historical Tabernacle. And I was there, and a few seats from me was Bernice King, Dr. Martin Luther King's youngest child, and Dean Lawrence Edward Carter, Dean of the King International Chapel at Morehouse. They were sitting there, and there was not a dry eye in that tabernacle when they did that one world concert. They brought together those different musical idioms from different faith traditions and musical traditions. And then they had another concert, a follow-up one in Atlanta. There were 15,000 people there singing mighty chorus together. They were singing, lift every voice and sing, and they were also singing, Come, come, ye saints. Those two idioms from different faith traditions, but they all speak of one thing, making it through the struggles of oppression. Lift every voice and sing, that was written by James Weldon Johnson on the occasion of the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln in Jacksonville, Florida. And there were 500 school children who first recited a poem, lift every voice and sing. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far along the way, thou who hast by thy might led us into the light. And then there's Come, come, ye saints, no toil nor labor fear. Though hard to you this journey may appear, grace shall be as your name. There was a common thread through singing those two distinct hymns. They were both about struggle and still being true to our God, to our land, to our church, to ourselves. That's powerful. I learned how to appreciate the Tabernacle Choir when I was a child down in Mississippi. It was a ritual on Sunday morning. We would listen to the spoken word and the Wings Over Jordan Choir, that great choir from Cleveland, Ohio, singing Negro spirituals and folk songs.
So do you think it's a coincidence that you ended up making this connection with President Nelson?
We had no choice. Our paths went similar routes. President Nelson did his graduate studies at the University of Minnesota, and my second pastorate was in St. Paul, Minnesota, Pilgrim Baptist Church. And I was chaplain of the Minnesota Senate, and I worked with Hubert Humphrey, who was a great leader at the Democratic National Convention. He gave a passionate speech about civil and human rights. Innocent in Ulysses says, I'm a part of all that I have met. What does that mean? We become who we are on the basis of the meetings that we have. If we hang out with narrow, bigoted people, we will become bigoted, narrow, unkind. Exposure means a whole lot. To become exposed to different traditions, different ways. Diversity does not mean deficiency. So thank God for this harmonious, diverse experience that I've had with the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Thank God. Along my journey, I met this great president, prophet, practitioner of the faith, who knew how, yes, he did, President Nelson, to do what? To tangibilitate the gospel. There was an old preacher who once said that he was very successful because he knew how to tangibilitate the gospel. Words are not even in the dictionary, but he followed Jesus, and Jesus tangibilitated everything. Fed the poor, set the captives free, enabled the lame to walk, blind to see, befriended the ones who've been marginalized. He made it tangible. And old James, the brother of Jesus, said, faith without works
He's dead.
Yes, sir.